Graves's eyes narrowed as he spotted Lydia behind Marcus. "Mr. Holloway," Graves said quickly, standing and adjusting his tie, "this is unexpected. What can I do for you at this hour?" Marcus stepped into the office, his presence commanding the room. "Mr. Graves, we need to talk about today. Specifically, your handling of the situation with Ms. Harris and Mr. Hawthorne." Graves's eyes darted toward Lydia, a mix of anger and fear flashing across his face. "Sir, I can explain. There was a misunderstanding with Mr. Hawthorne, but I assure you I handled it appropriately. Ms. Harris was—" Marcus cut him off, his voice firm. "I've heard Ms. Harris's account of what happened. I've also just had a very enlightening conversation with Mr. Hawthorne. And, Mr. Graves, I'm deeply disappointed in how you've managed this situation." Graves paled. "Sir, I was just trying to protect the hotel's interests. Mr. Hawthorne is a very important guest." "A guest's importance doesn't give them the right to mistreat our staff," Marcus interrupted. "And your job, Mr. Graves, is not only to cater to clients, but to ensure this hotel runs smoothly and ethically. That includes protecting the dignity of our employees." Graves stammered. "But, sir, I was following protocol. In situations like this, we always side with the guest. It's how we maintain our reputation." Marcus's eyes hardened. "And what about our reputation as an employer? Did you consider that when you forced Ms. Harris to apologize for something she didn't do, or when you threatened her job if she didn't comply with Mr. Hawthorne's unreasonable demands?" The color drained from Graves's face as he realized the extent of what Marcus knew. He turned toward Lydia, his expression a mix of anger and desperation. You went over my head after everything I've done for you?" Before Lydia could respond, Marcus stepped between them. "Ms. Harris did what any employee should feel safe doing when they're mistreated. She spoke up. The fact that she couldn't come to you, her direct supervisor, is a damning indictment of your management." Graves slumped back into his chair, the fight leaving him. "What happens now?" he asked, his voice small. Marcus's expression remained resolute. "Your actions today have shown a complete lack of integrity. You prioritized appeasing a wealthy guest over protecting a hard-working employee from abuse. This is not the kind of leadership we need in this hotel." He paused, letting his words sink in. "I'm afraid I have no choice but to terminate your employment, effective immediately." Graves's head snapped up, shock clear on his face. "Terminate? But I've been with this hotel for 15 years. You can't just—" "I can, and I am," Marcus said firmly. "Your years of service make today's actions even more disappointing. You should have known better. Please clean out your desk and turn in your keys. Security will escort you out." As if on cue, 2 security guards appeared in the doorway. Graves looked at them, then back at Marcus and Lydia, the reality of his situation finally sinking in. Without another word, he began gathering his things, his movements mechanical and defeated. Marcus turned to Lydia, his expression softening. "Ms. Harris, I know this has been a difficult day. Would you mind waiting for me in the lobby? I'd like to have a word with you." Lydia nodded, feeling a complex mix of emotions: relief, vindication, and even a touch of pity for Graves, despite everything he had done. As she left the office, she overheard Marcus instructing security to ensure Graves left the premises without incident. Sitting in the quiet lobby, Lydia's mind reeled from the events of the past hour. A day that had begun in humiliation and despair was ending with a sense of justice and hope she hadn't felt in years. As Marcus approached, he smiled warmly. "Ms. Harris, would you mind joining me in my office? I think we have a lot to discuss." In Marcus's office, he sat next to Lydia rather than behind his desk. "Miss Harris, I want to apologize for what happened today. It never should have occurred." Lydia felt tears well up. "You have nothing to apologize for. You've done more for me tonight than anyone has in I don't know how long." Marcus smiled sadly. "If you're comfortable, I'd like to hear more about your experiences, not just today, but throughout your life." For the first time in years, Lydia opened up. She shared stories of growing up with limited opportunities, her first job as a teenager scrubbing floors in a diner, and the parade of service jobs that followed. She spoke about her dreams of respect and dignity, and how those dreams had been slowly ground down by reality. Marcus listened intently, his expression a mix of sadness and determination. When she finished, Marcus said, "Ms. Harris, thank you for sharing your story. Your resilience is inspiring. I have a proposition for you." Lydia looked at him curiously. "I'd like to offer you a new position here at the hotel," Marcus continued. "Not as a maid, but in administration, a role where your experience can help us create a better work environment for all our employees. It would involve less physical labor, better pay, and a chance to make a real difference." Lydia sat there, stunned. "Are you sure? I don't have any formal qualifications." Marcus smiled. "You have years of real-world experience and a perspective we desperately need. Who better to help us address the challenges our staff face every day?" Tears of joy welled up in Lydia's eyes. For so many years, she had felt invisible, unheard, and unvalued. Now, here was a chance not just for a better job, but to help others like her. "Yes," she said, her voice choked with emotion but firm with resolve. "Yes, I accept." Marcus beamed. "I'm glad to hear it, Ms. Harris. Together, we can make this hotel a place where every employee feels valued and respected." In the weeks that followed, Lydia's life transformed. Her new role in administration came with challenges, but for the first time in decades, these were challenges that invigorated rather than depleted her. The physical toll of cleaning was gone, replaced by the mental stimulation of learning new systems and contributing ideas. Lydia became a bridge between management and frontline staff, using her experience to advocate for her colleagues in ways others simply couldn't. One evening, about a month into her new role, Lydia found herself alone in the hotel lobby, reflecting on her journey. She thought of her younger self, full of dreams and determination, taking her first job at the diner. She remembered the string of jobs that followed, each one chipping away at her hope. But through it all, she had persisted. In the face of humiliation and hardship, she had maintained her dignity, insisting on her humanity even when the world tried to render her invisible. As Lydia stood, smoothing down her new business attire, she passed a group of cleaning staff. She greeted them by name, asking about their families and concerns, making mental notes of issues to address in the next staff meeting. One of the younger maids, Maria, looked at her with admiration. "Ms. Harris, do you really think things are going to change around here?" Lydia smiled and squeezed Maria's shoulder. "They already are, Maria, and we're just getting started." As Lydia stepped out into the cool evening air, she felt a sense of purpose she hadn't known in years. The weight of silent suffering had been lifted, replaced by the strength of someone who had reclaimed her voice, her dignity, and her power. She carried with her the hope of a brighter future, not just for herself, but for all those who had ever felt unseen and unvalued. Her story wasn't just one of personal triumph, it was a beacon of change, a promise that with perseverance, courage, and the support of principled leaders, even the most deeply entrenched systems could be transformed. Thank you for joining us on this journey of resilience and justice. If Lydia's story touched your heart, we've handpicked another inspiring tale you won't want to miss. Click here to watch it next.